Okay, we'll start the site plan review meeting for March 20th, 2018. In attendance today is Chairman of the Board of Assessors, Dana Brangiforti, Chief James Guido, Code Consultant Pat DeMarco, Building Inspector Ben DeCristoforo, Frank Stringy, City Planner, Nick Rystrom, City Engineer, Donald Goodwin, Superintendent of Public Works, and Mark Locke, Plumbing Inspector. First item on the agenda is 49 Revere Beach Boulevard. Oh, it's not here yet. Okay. Let's skip 49. They're waiting for their plans to come. What's the second item on the agenda, Mike? 5 Washington Ave. Have a seat.
Thank you. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you all doing?
All right, what do you have for us today?
What's the, it's a property that is actually for sale, and I just wanted to know a little bit more about the zoning and possibilities for the land and the building. So I do have some schematics on what I was hoping to do, but it's up to you guys, I guess.
Yeah, the zoning for that. All right, it's zone general business. What are you proposing for the property?
Well, right now there's a building on it that's about 1,250 square footage.
It's a dog garage.
It's a dog grooming business. So what I'm thinking about is adding to the side of it maybe another section, because I guess they do have a lease that is another 4 years, so I cannot really take them out if I do buy the business or the building. So by putting next to it a garage, it's a dead-end street.
You see, yeah.
So it would, it's a grooming business. I would actually have to, because they do have a lease, and if I do break the lease, I would actually have to pay them.
So what use are you proposing here, sir?
So right now there's this is Washington Street on this side, and this is the grooming business right here. So I would actually utilize the same side of the building and put a garage, a special garage. I think that's what you have on your.
Are you talking about
Auto repair
auto
and
repair?
Auto body is a special, that's not allowed in that district.
for a JB
Yeah.
general business.
Commercial garage is by special permit, that's auto repair. But auto body repair is not allowed in the general business district.
I was looking at your notes on the internet, and I guess it's one of them that it's listed as you could do on a general business area, and that's part of your website. That's the only reason why I was actually interested.
No. Special garage
JB?
is a no. I don't know what you were looking at, but it's not allowed.
Oh, okay.
I can show you that.
It's right there.
Okay, do you have any other questions?
All right. Where is it? Okay, special permits for HB&T.
Come from the top, GB, follow it down to special garage, and you'll see a no.
Okay. No, I was actually looking for all the other zoning that it would be allowed into, because it's not saying that on your website. I don't know why. But that being said, okay, maybe
Okay.
just a simple garage. Would that be possible?
Pardon me?
Maybe just a regular garage. Would
That's a
that be
special
possible?
permit for the city council.
Okay, but if I do buy the property, can that be put on it?
It's a special permit by the city council. It's a public hearing that has to be held, and the city council makes a final decision on it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
It's not-
I guess my position right
It's
now.
not guaranteed.
Okay. So maybe my question would be, what comes first? Because I think you guys are here to help me out to make the right decision on purchasing a building or land inside of your city.
Well, this committee is
Why?
not for that purpose. If you have to come to us with a plan. We can't tell you what to do in certain areas. I can tell you that in the Highway Business District, in the TED District, special permit is required for a special garage. So you can look in those districts for available property, and then when you find something, come back to us with a proposed plan.
Okay. I guess my question still stands. If I put a regular garage there, which is allowed in that zoning, do I go to the hearing first, even before I even purchase the land?
No, you come here first
That's why
with
I'm
your
here.
plans.
Okay. So when I come here with these plans, let's say, and you guys will decide, or would there be a hearing first?
No, we would review it for zoning compliance, and we would have to deny your plan because it's only allowed by special permit. So you would receive a zoning letter that states that a commercial garage is allowed by special permit in this district, and you take that letter to the city clerk and you file for a special permit.
Okay,
And she'll give you the application and set up the public hearing.
okay.
But we need to see the plans, certified plot plan, because if you put it, adding onto the building, it's most likely it's a non-conforming lot, and there may be other permits that are required, variances.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. So technically, you're saying that you would deny this. I'll come back with the plan. I'll go through the board, zoning board with you. I'll apply for variances. If that's okay, then I can go ahead on purchasing the land? Or do I purchase the land first?
No, you would purchase the land contingent on you getting a special
But
permit.
that's a contractual issue that you have to deal with between you and the owner.
Okay,
We don't advise on issues like that.
okay. Thank you so much.
Okay? And when you return here, we need a certified plot plan. This is not suitable.
No, I know.
Okay?
That was just informative. Okay.
All right.
We're fortunate enough to be granted a special permit. Would you be putting infrastructure in there, water and sewer, bathrooms and showers or things of that nature?
Maybe in the future. But right about now, all it needs is, would be sewer and water.
Okay.
Just for
We just
garage.
relined all that and then, correct? All right. All right, we just relined the infrastructure in that area, so there's a special connection that needs to be made before you can just hire a drain layer and have that done. So you need to contact my office if you are fortunate enough to be granted a special permit, and we'll advise you as to how to tap into the line, sewer line.
Okay.
The water hasn't changed, it's still the same. Okay.
All right. What else can I put on this land if I were to buy it?
Sir, there's a number of uses. You'd have to do your own homework and look in the use table.
The only reason why I'm saying that is because when I did my homework, it's stipulated that I could put this on it. However, you just mentioned that it's not, because according to this documentation, which is not on the internet, which I think you guys should review a little bit.
Well, I'm not
I'm
quite
not-
sure where you went, but the ordinances are online and the use table is online.
I should have come up with a printout of it. Okay. All right. Okay, then
Okay.
I guess I'm all set.
All right, good luck.
Let's take up 90 Ocean Avenue.
Site plan for 90 Ocean Ave by Rick Salvo for new construction, 75-unit apartment building.
Rick, when you make your presentation, just press the button on that mic. You can use that, just close to it.
Good?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Rick Sal with Engineering Alliance, here this evening on behalf, or this afternoon on behalf of 90 Ocean Ave LLC. Also with me is the architect, Lafreniere Architects, who also participate in the presentation and answer any questions that you have. Since we were last before this board, we've been to the Board of Appeals, received relief to allow a 75-unit building with 75 parking spaces. The variance is attached to your packet there. In addition, we held a public hearing with the Conservation Commission, and it was reviewed by both the Conservation Commission and the DEP, and received in order of conditions. So just to remind you of the property, the property is located on Ocean Ave. Right here, it's the former site of the Lion's Den. It's a parcel of land that's about 36,380 square feet. The building has since been demolished. If you look at the proposal is to construct a building footprint of 13,590 square feet. It's one level of parking underneath the building, as well as surface parking, with 5 stories of wood frame construction above it. I'll let the architects get into the unit mixes and the unit counts themselves. Access to the site will be via 2 curb cuts. Folks will pull into the site, have the opportunity to drive underneath the building to access the interior parking, drive on the back for the exterior parking, and loop around in a one-way circulation for an exit-only driveway over on this side. Dimensionally, the building meets all the zoning criteria in terms of height, front yard setback, rear yard setback, lot coverage, FAR, etc. As I said, we did go before the Conservation Commission. Stormwater is handled by capturing stormwater flows in the rear surface area as well as the rear portion of the roof, captured by a series of deep sump catch basins, ported outlets, which connect to a water quality inlet to a subsurface system that's been sized to handle the 100-year storm. The front of the building has a pervious paver system where the roof drains will discharge into that pervious paver system. Both domestic and fire service connections are shown here, connecting up to their respective mains in Ocean Avenue, gas connection out in Ocean Avenue, and sewer connection out in Ocean Avenue. Obviously, the garage parking underneath the building, more than 6 parking spaces per the Mass State Plumbing Code, has to be equipped with floor drains, which would discharge to a gas trap and into the into the sanitary sewer. It's been designed so that there's a ridge point at the back of the building which is open. So at this ridge point, any flows flow away from the building here, and any flows inside of the building would pitch towards the inside of the building. So there's no chance of any rainwater or anything like that pitching in towards the building. It all pitches away from the building. That's essentially the way the building and the utilities lay out. I think I'll just have the architects just run through real quick the building design itself, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Now, before you move on, Rick, let's talk about other permits required. You're going to need a Chapter 148 license.
Correct.
Fire department, for the garage. You already went to Concom.
Yep.
Did you file for your DCR curb cut permit yet?
Not yet.
Okay. And your railroad right-of-way?
Yes.
Yes.
Railroad
That's all
right-of-way,
set.
I don't believe this parcel was ever actually owned by the railroad
No,
right-of-way.
you're adjacent to a
So
railroad.
we're adjacent,
Yeah.
but it has to have been in the chain of title as owned by the railroad at one point to have to go after that hearing through EOTC. I don't believe we're subject to that.
I think they received it anyway. That's for a letter. I think they received it, Frank.
Yeah, okay.
I could double check. That was through D'Ambrosio Brown.
Can I just revisit the gas truck? as it relates to the floor in the garage, you said it was gonna be pitched so that nothing from outside can come into the garage?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Right. So there's a ridge line here where all this pitches away this way, and anything inside this garage floor will pitch.
So everything will flow into the drains, obviously, inside the garage?
Correct.
Okay.
Your exterior drain system, you're expecting that to be able to handle and infiltrate the full extent of the storm event?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
100-year?
Yep, and we'll submit, we did a full drainage. Obviously, we had to fully comply with the stormwater, actually, we didn't have to fully comply with the stormwater management calcs because it is a redevelopment, it's 100% paved, but we viewed this as, we presented this project as fully complying, and it does fully comply with all the stormwater, DEP stormwater regs. And I will submit all that backup information to you. It's already been reviewed by the Concom, and we'll send it through to your office as well.
You have a stormwater management analysis and a drainage design and all that calcs?
Yes. And O&M plan.
Is there gonna, are the parking spaces gonna be assigned? One space per unit?
That's a core requirement of the ZBA variance. Each unit has to have, including the lease, one parking spaces for each unit.
For a fee or for free?
No, included in the lease.
Okay, and where is the visitor parking?
Visitor parking is, it's all part of, the 75 spaces services the whole building, both visitors and folks that are living there.
Right, so if there's 75 units, and each unit has their own parking space, how's someone else gonna park in a parking space?
Either there'll be space available for them to park, if there's no space available to park, if there's that strange scenario that every single person is home and parked that day in the parking lot, then they'd have to park on the street. I mean, the visitors, as you'll hear when the architects talk, these units aren't very big units, so I don't see there being a ton of entertaining, going on in these units, but.
But the parking relief has already been established and been reviewed by the
By the ZBA, that's correct.
Right, so it's already established.
So there's no designated visitor parking at all?
That is correct. That was the relief that was granted by the ZBA.
Okay, Rick, the breakdown of number of units, the architect is going to provide you that?
Yeah.
Number of bedrooms, okay.
It's fenced in here.
So you both, I'm John Lafreniere, Lafreniere Architects, we're offices in Cambridge. We've been working on the building for quite a while. We've met with planning and whatever, Bob O'Brien, and for the most part, a lot of what's going on the ground floor and the ground plane and on the first floor in here has sort of evolved out of discussions with them. The building itself, as you know from the site plan, it's largely parking on the ground floor with a lobby and stairs. The upper floors are booties, a little bit out of sequence here, sorry. The elevation, but I should have talked about them first, but anyway. So this is a typical upper floor where we have two-bedroom units on the ends, and there's usually one other one, and the rest are one-bedroom or studios. We have a total of 24 two-bedroom units and 6 studios, and the rest are all one-bedroom units. So that's what, 45. So that's the mix, and it's almost uniformly on the floor. There's the real changes on in one of the upper floors. Or the two of the upper floors, we end up with the studios at the other end, or the two bedrooms. So that's the unit mix. There's a let me go back to the building. In fact, let me the renderings. The one with the roof. Sort of in terms the character of the building, there's a roof deck as well so people can take advantage of the views and things. In terms of the ground floor, it's, or the ground plane, it's largely just, landscape with general sort of areas for informal gathering. And what's concealing the parking is we've got a mesh screen there where we thought would capture some of the sort of memories of the, sort of fairground area, which I guess was a little further along, but I did ride as a child on the Wild Mouse, so I'm familiar with the area and that feel of the place from there. So we've just got these sort of silhouettes which are in a mesh.
Essentially, I mean, this is out of scale, but essentially it'd be something like with different varying perforations that creates the graphic.
I don't know whether you can see the way it, depending upon the light and how you see it. So it's not a sort of literal image of that, but as you go by, you'll catch it. So in a way, it's more interesting than just having it, say, painted on a wall or something. And then the landscaping, we've got a lot of the lighting. Oh, in fact, you can see it. And this is the idea. At night, we've got these lights sort of set into the ground plane. So even as you're walking along here, there's a little bit of interest in that. And there's also glowing lights underneath some of these edges of these stone walls and things. So the idea is to make this, for any pedestrians along there, a little bit of an animated thing. So you're not just looking at cars in the through a screen or something. What else? That's the main image. The materials themselves are largely, cementitious based sidings. We've got a variety of sidings. Some look metallic, some are flat. So there's a lot of variety and animation. We've got some sunscreens on the ends just to help to animate those parts of the building. And the vertical shaft where the elevator is and where the entry is dominated as it extends up to the roof level and gives access to the roof decks. So that's the character of the building and the number of units and we're available for.
So the majority of the exterior material is fiber cement,
Yeah, of different
clapboard,
types and patterns. Yes, to give it some,
various colors, or just
well, it's large. This is what you're seeing is pretty much the colors. It's
gray.
blues and grays largely. Yeah. On the back, we're also showing some red, just where it's a flatter elevation, just to give it a little bit more animation at a bigger scale.
and that screen mesh that you for the garage level.
Yeah.
Is that just black and white, or does that come in colors?
It's going to be well. We're refining that still, but it'll be this one is seen sort of goldish, but it'll be one material. And although we're thinking that the idea is that the silhouette will be enough with the perforation, but we need to see a big mock-up, and then we'll decide. We want to make sure it has this kind of impact both at day and night, so you can really see it, and it's not just some sort of illusion.
Will there be a backing behind that? A
Well,
grate,
that's what
or is that just
that's what we're.
that's a face for
I
a
think
graded
it may
area?
need a second one with some light behind, so you aren't looking at the cars through it, which is what is the concern right now. Yeah, I think if we have another mesh a little further back and have light on that, then we won't have this funny feeling of it being transparent, but rather that you're looking at illuminated surface behind.
In the garage level and first level, you're proposing brick. What type of brick?
Sorry. Oh, it's I'm probably something like an iron spot. Something with a little texture and tone to it. But the mortar will be a similar tone, so it feels as this does as a fairly uniform surface, and not as something that is high contrast brick sort of jumping out.
And the first floor is only this portion of it on the front elevation is brick. The rest is fiber cement.
All right. We'd like to see examples of the materials that you're going to use for the exterior of the building. When you come back, and just provide it to the building inspector, myself, and the rest of the committee.
Okay, for sure.
Did you guys consider condoing these?
The owner has not. No, right from the beginning they wanted to make it a rental product.
Is this wood construction?
Sorry.
Is it wood construction?
Wood construction, yeah, it's this type 3 construction, the exterior is it's a fire-rated assembly, and then wood framing between.
Any questions, other questions for the architect? Are you proposing a rooftop deck?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, didn't the original plan have a little cafe or something outside?
It wasn't possible because they're in a 100-year floodplain,
Right, right.
so everything had to be elevated.
Can't,
I can't do it.
can't occupy the
No.
That's right, I mean,
That,
and
that
just
was
to
our
give-
intention,
Yeah, to
and that
give
was
you
their
some
intention.
scale
but they
to it,
couldn't.
we're around elevation 6, the floodplain is at elevation 12.
Yeah.
That would mean that that cafe would have to be 6 feet up off the ground,
Yeah.
which isn't gonna happen. So, but the first floor, the way this works with the parking underneath, the first floor we're up at about elevation 19. So first floor mechanicals and all that stuff well outside of the floodplain.
And we've also got the main electrical room and everything is up at that level.
Right.
This is, it's designed so if, heaven forbid, we get this, get one more 100-year storm in the next year, it'll flood, but not.
But you're right, there was a lot of back and forth, especially with the planning department relative to the front facade of this building, and getting some interest in trying to bring some retail there, although it really isn't sort of a section of the beach that's sort of out of the pedestrian zone, if you will, but unfortunately we couldn't do it because of the flood elevation.
Yeah, I mean, the architect did the best he could. We had a number of meetings to create a public place along the front of the building and not have it as a standalone private building, part of the connection with the public realm. So you did a good job with that, and the landscaping is, we worked on that, and it's significant.
Yeah.
And it would enhance the building.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Is that seating outside?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what the copper
So
mile,
they could have a seasonal vendor set up there.
That was the idea, to have pop-ups potentially in the summertime, you know.
So
So,
is that
yeah.
part of this?
It's not required, it's
No, it's
something
not
that
required.
may.
The area is
these things
reserved
are
for
obviously
that.
hard to control and to run economically, but that was one of the reasons why we have so much large paved area here.
so they
It's not
did
just
activate
grass.
the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so to that point, so should that opportunity arise, it's set up for it.
Right.
There's seat walls there, there's outdoor seating, and there's room for it. So if they can find a vendor that would want to do something there during the summertime, and there's enough critical mass, absolutely, it would fit right in and plug right in. We just couldn't commit to it, just not knowing what we're gonna have for pedestrian traffic and whether that need would ever actually arise.
Okay. Rick, so you're familiar with our sewer improvement fund and mitigation fund, so the total number, you know what the formula is, total number of units times 10 times $1.30 a gallon. And this project is also subject to the Community Improvement Trust Fund because of the extra units that are being added.
So, and that gets calculated based off so we just go through parking demand, see how many units would be allowed by right with that parking demand.
That's right.
And then whatever's extra.
3% of the construction costs of the extra units. That'll all be in the site plan review letter report. Any questions, you guys, on sewer and water?
Currently, the water and sewer has been capped at the property line, so before the project moves forward, they will have to bring it back to the mains
Yeah, I think the notes in the plan say that we capped at the main one.
and re-brought back in. Yeah. We weren't sure exactly how they would come. Obviously, if they can use the same trenches coming in, that would, that was one of the big concerns with DCR, because it is a DCR-controlled roadway, but the infrastructure was ours. So that's the reason they allowed them to cap it at the property lines. But that has to go back to the mains before they can move forward with bringing the new infrastructure in.
Is there details here for the cut and the cap?
No. We can certainly add that.
Yep.
So lighting, there's another question. In that active zone, which is going to be pedestrian friendly,
This is schematically different.
okay, where's this?
Some of the lighting.
So ornamental light posts.
ornamental light poles.
Do you show those?
We aren't, we don't actually have any of those shown. We could certainly have. The idea was that there'd be enough illumination from all this, the low lighting rather than creating lighting from above.
Okay, we'll take a look at that and see if that's sufficient enough. I mean, that's going to be an active area at night, so we may want
We
some
can
ornamental
certainly,
light
you know,
posts there,
introduce some sort of
and above head lighting.
balconies. Oh, yes, yeah, these are all, they're made out of aluminum, and they're pre-assembled, pre-made, and they actually bolt on, and we got a special attachment system. They only project about 18 inches, so it's enough to go out there and stand there, but not really right for, barbecuing and all that other stuff. Yeah, right, exactly. But they're not flat on the surface, they're a little
It
more.
might be a little more.
You can
Mark.
actually step on
It's
it.
18 inches. Yeah, it's a little more than.
Yeah, so, and we have sliders.
That
so
gives
you-
it gives it a little depth.
Yeah, and you can bring a chair and be, at least half in and half out and feel as though you're on a balcony.
I think I'm more than 18 inches wide at this point, so I understand.
You can't be that.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you. We'll have further discussion regarding, the final landscaping, the lighting, and the color materials for the building.
Package to your office.
Can you get that new electronic as well?
Absolutely.
Who do we have next, Mike?
5 Washington Ave? I'm sorry, 49 Revere Beach Boulevard.
49 Revere Beach Boulevard.
Michael Lee with JBX Developers. Site plan. We're in the process of working with DCR to work out the details of the curb cut.
Yeah, a little larger. I don't know if I don't want to tell you that.
We put in the required bump outs by the Architectural Review Board. Crosswalks.
This is right off the bat, the address, that's a sign.
Thank you.
50,
I know.
Revere Beach Boulevard.
We keep putting it into the system, it keeps cutting it out, and I think we got it resolved with them, but if we put in the system 50, it bumps us out and doesn't allow us to submit for the permit.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So we're still waiting on DCR approval for the
Right.
the bump out and
Yeah,
crosswalk plan.
we're in negotiation.
Yes, okay. All right, Mike, why don't you give the board just a rundown of the summary of the project?
175 unit hotel, 9 stories, partial underground parking, approximately 2 stories,
Total number of parking spaces?
128 parking spaces. All valet parking.
This project was subject to a special permit from the city council and was approved by the council. Do you have a copy of the special permit?
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh. No, you can have that one.
Also, Michael, the Revere Beach Design Review Board, do you have their final approval of the plan that they approved?
I think this is the plan they approved, and DCR is asking us to move the planters back a little bit.
Okay.
So once we do that, we'll go back before them and get their approval again. but they're asking that these planters be moved back about 3.5 feet so that you can open a car door without hitting the planter.
We'll have to see their letter if there was anything else in there that's specific to the design that has to be held throughout when we review the plans. So if anything's deviated from what was submitted to the design review board, it will have to be reviewed by us and go back to them.
Right, we're just gonna try, we're trying to get everybody on the same page to make a final decision as to what, every time we go before the different board, everybody has a different suggestion, then we change the plans, and then architectural review board says yes or no, and then DCR says no, and then, so we keep going back and forth. So we're trying to get DCR to make a final decision as what exactly they want, and will allow. We'll make a final drawing and submit it to everybody for approval.
Fine, fine. There's a proposed restaurant included in the
Right.
building. And how many seats?
I think 80?
Just that breakdown on the plan.
It's just, no, it's a designated space. We haven't contracted with anybody for the restaurant. Right now, it's just gonna be an open space to be leased at a later date.
I don't see,
You don't have any floor plans there?
I don't see any,
No, just mostly site plan.
Oh,
It's part of the normal parking, it's all valet.
yeah, everything's going to be valet. They'll valet in front.
For the zoning board approvals.
Yeah. We did our preliminary review before the city council issued the special permit. We issued our conditions to the city council. Those conditions are going to remain the same, subject to some variations due to the DCR comments on the curb cut and the construction of walkway, crosswalks and bump outs. This project also is subject to the Community Improvement Trust Fund, and is also subject to a sewer mitigation fee, which has been explained to Michael Lee, the project manager. It was included in the city council special permit. So this building is in the, also our creative district, and the architect has incorporated some art design on Ocean Avenue with lighting. If you look at the plans, you'll see it back. Did you pass those out?
Right, yeah, I just have this one.
Yeah.
There's
Pass
lighting
that
on the
around.
balconies. That's a stone facade.
is this animated? What is that?
It has a curved front.
That's not animated, right?
Pardon? That's a mural.
It's a mural.
No, just the sidewalk, just
No.
on that first level. per
All
se.
access and egress is off Ocean Avenue. There's just one driveway opening on Ocean Avenue, correct, Michael? Oh, there's another one for
I think
the,
There's another one, there's an ingress.
That's for
and
service.
egress. Yeah.
service vehicles.
Right.
How many stories is that?
9.
Christie? 9 stories.
Is the architect here, Mike? No. But the building material is basically
Stone.
stone.
Yeah, porcelain.
And glass.
Porcelain, stone, and glass, right.
There you go.
If we can afford to build it.
Well, that's for you to work out with your architect.
I'm trying to keep the architect under control.
Yeah, always do. Yeah,
What's that? Is that a sign? Or the,
yeah, that's a sign board.
Yep.
There's another building going right here, so I don't
yeah,
do that.
yeah. You may want
And
to
they've,
shift it to the front.
They've
back.
selected a brand name, Wyndham Hotels.
Wyndham
Yeah.
is the brand
It's
name?
a brand name, yeah. So they're fairly low-key in their signage. Fairly independent.
Okay. What does your schedule look like, or when would you like to start construction?
We're waiting for building permit now, so we'd like to start this spring.
You don't have that?
No.
That's all I get from
That's all
my
I gave you, huh?
bosses, is when am I gonna start?
Yeah. Have you filed for Conservation Commission approval yet? Obviously you have.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll need a copy of the order of conditions from the Conservation
Okay.
Commission.
I've,
You could submit that when you file for the building permit.
order condition. It's been recorded?
Do you want him to file this with the whole package? or I'll
Yeah,
keep
I
a
think
copy
they
of this?
partially submitted some stuff online, yes.
Yeah.
We're in e-permitting now.
Yeah, we're going through the e-permit. E-permitting only has a limit.
I understand.
to
I think
25 megabyte.
they think they broke it down to a couple of different files, though.
Right.
Yeah, so we do have that inputted. And once we get the final site plan review letter, we'll proceed with the plan review.
Okay, Concom order conditions recorded. You'll receive a site plan review report, letter, Mike, will outline everything that you have to submit.
Okay.
And sign-offs, obviously, from the fire department. I don't know if you've submitted the plans for fire department review and been
Just through
approved.
the website.
Okay.
So what has the Revere Beach Design Review Board, what have they not approved on the elevation? Or have they approved the
They've
elevation?
approved the
Oh, they have, okay.
Yeah, everything is approved,
Okay.
as submitted.
Just that if we start to make too many changes through the state, then we have to
Because of
modify
DCR,
plan
okay.
and let them know what changes.
I just want to coordinate what you submitted is what actually's been approved.
Right, oh yeah, definitely. It's been approved.
Yeah. It's gotta be,
Yeah.
If DCR starts making changes, then we have to change the plan and go back to them and say, this is what we changed.
Where do they show where do you have your grease
It's
interceptor
gonna
trap?
be inside the building somewhere.
Right, who wanted the bump outs?
Design Review Board.
Design Review Board, Revere Beach Design Review Board. Well, that's one of the things DCR is looking at.
Right.
Unless they're gonna maintain the cutout. Hotel.
So,
We're still plowing down to
so DCR has the sidewalk and then you have the street?
no,
No.
but these prohibit the plow from, that's why the DCR frowns on that.
Yeah, we also have planters on the sidewalk too, but one department wants it, the other department doesn't, so
Oh, I don't see.
the department that wants the
Happens on
planters
the
went out.
sidewalk. How much space is in between the back of the planter to the, how wide is that? About,
About 10 feet.
so that's plenty to make an open pad for snow removal.
It is. I mean, the streetscape improvements and pedestrian safety were the key issues for us, for this. It's going to be a very active hotel presence and a lot of pedestrian activity, drop off, people in. people crossing the boulevard, so those bump outs are necessary
Crosswalks.
pedestrian safety measure.
Pedestrian lights.
Anything else? You guys all set?
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, gentlemen.
this has pretty much been through the ringer, so
Yeah.
we're almost there.
Yes. Inside.
A gas separator there as well?
Yes.
A gas,
Oh, yeah.
oil separator?
Yeah. Grease trap.
No, not a grease
Gas-
trap. That's
gas
grease
separator.
interceptor.
Yeah.
But this, there's gonna be two devices, there'll be the grease interceptor and the gas oil separator.
Correct.
So one of the things we asked for, a hydrant flow test on Ocean Avenue.
Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah. Did you have that submitted to you?
I think I do have it.
Yeah.
There was an issue with the original, so it was redone, I believe.
Again, water sewer drain plans will be reviewed by you guys. All right, Michael, we're all set. We have
Thank you
everything
very
we
much.
need from you.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Is that it, Mike? That's it? This meeting is adjourned.